Almost. The NFL draft and sporting events are bringing people back into downtown restaurants. But finding workers for those restaurants, that's another story. The effort to get workers back on the job.
What are the odds? We look into when sports betting could become legal in Ohio. And I asked out-of-towners to describe Cleveland in their own words. This NFL Draft edition of What's New starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Boy, I'll tell you, considering 24 hours ago it was raining and gross, man, we are sitting pretty today. That sun is shining. I know it's chilly. Yeah, it's windy, but things are just looking up and up. Day 2 of the NFL draft is here, everybody, and our city looked amazing last night. It's going to be stunning tonight, and of course, we're getting a lot of praise on social media for all of the wonders that Cleveland is. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that coming up later in the show.
And after picking their cornerback last night, Greg Newsome from Northwestern, the Browns will make 3 picks in tonight's second and third rounds. And with that, we say hello again, Northeast Ohio. Thank you so much for choosing What's New on this Friday, the last day in April. Thank you for spending time with us. With Betsy Kling, I'm Jay Crawford. Even though it was windy and chilly, it still felt better than yesterday's rain. And the hope is this is going to continue into the weekend.
That's right. Well, there's the team that you saw right there. We do have our team coverage. Everybody is spread out all around downtown, and we're going to be covering the safety concerns, the fun, and what else is expected tonight.
And we start by hearing from Cleveland's newest favorite player. His name, cornerback Greg Newsome, comes to the Browns by way of Northwestern, and by all accounts, he is a terrific young man. And judging by that clip of video, I would say that he and his family are extremely excited that he will join Baker Mayfield and the rest of the gang. I love it when he's trying to quiet everyone down so he can hear. I need to talk to my new bosses. And day 2 is a big one. Rounds 2 and 3, they begin tonight at 7 o'clock. The Browns will actually, barring any trades, make 3 picks. So we bring in the voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan. Jimmy, what's your take on young Greg Newsome? What do you think?
Oh, I think that they were really dialed in on him, Jay. I think that he was definitely high on their board. They had 4 cornerbacks that they were interested in, but reality set in. They realized that Patrick Surtain and J.C. Horn were going to go very high, and indeed they did. But then they were wondering about Caleb Farley and Greg Newsome, and I think they had Newsome ahead of Farley because he's healthier and he's played longer in the college game. And so they had to sweat out the pick by Tennessee at number 23. And then it was the Titans taking Farley, the Steelers taking Najee Harris. They worried about Jacksonville at 25, but then at 26, there he was as Greg Newsome ended up in the lap of the Cleveland Browns. Certainly needed at cornerback. The Browns were a little thin there. That was the position they wanted to go to. Now they get a guy, a 3-year starter, and yet only 20 years old. Very bright, very, very assertive on the field, clinically sound as far as defensive skills are concerned, and a guy that plays with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Even last night, he said, you know what? I was the best cornerback in the draft, but I'm happy to be going to the Cleveland Browns.
I'm always going to play with that chip on my shoulder regardless. And, you know, I feel like the way I feel is like if I'm not the first pick of the draft, then everyone made a mistake. Like that's the type of confidence that I have. So I could have been picked 2nd overall and I still would have had a chip on my shoulder. So, you know, I'm just ready to work. And I'll always keep that chip on my shoulder, definitely.
Now the question is, when will he play? He could play right away, like on opening day, no doubt about it. I mean, they have Denzel Ward on the one side, Greedy Williams on the other side, and they hope that Greedy Williams is healthy. But when you draft a cornerback at number 26, you're going to get him on the field pretty quickly, so he will compete for a starting job right away. Now, as Jay, you mentioned, they have 3 picks coming up tonight. Number 59 in the second round, number 89, number 91 in round number 3. This was the night last year clear that they started to move around and could make a trade. They did it last year to get Grant Delpit. They certainly could do it here tonight and use some of their other picks coming up tomorrow. Now, wide receiver. Let's talk about that. That is on their shopping list, no doubt about it. Jay, you probably remember this guy, Rondale Moore, the speedy little receiver out of Purdue. He's fascinating. In the NFL these days, you have guys like Tyreek Hill. You have these guys that are really small and quick. They make plays down the field, but they can make great plays and big plays at the line of scrimmage with their speed. He would be considered that kind of guy. He opted out at Purdue, then opted back in this last year. Terrific player. He burned Ohio State a couple of years ago when he had a big game against them. And he's definitely on the Browns list right now. Jay, the shopping list once again is wide receiver, pass rusher, linebacker. Those are the must-gets. The remainder of the draft. Probably a developmental offensive lineman will be selected probably tomorrow. But that's what they're looking at right now. Watch out for a trade tonight. This is when Andrew Berry made his moves last year.
And he executed those moves perfectly last year. I want to, for 1 second, go back and ask you a question about the Browns' latest draft pick in Greg Newsome. We know that the other corners for the Browns have been injury prone. Obviously, Greedy Williams, dinged up, has missed a lot of time. What are folks saying about this player's durability? Is he a corner that the Browns can expect can be healthy and stay on the field?
It's a little bit of a concern, which might have been the reason that he dropped to number 26. In each of his 3 seasons at Northwestern, he did miss time. Nothing major. He didn't have an ACL or any kind of surgery. It was always a soft tissue injury. He said in his first year, the problem was an injury, and then they decided to redshirt him, and they only brought him back for 1 more game, and that was their bowl game. So, yeah, because of the problems that they've had with Denzel Ward being hurt at a point in time in each of his 3 seasons, and what happened to Greedy Williams, that is a little bit of a concern. There is a soft tissue injury history with Newsome, or at least it affected him a little bit, certainly at Northwestern.
Comes in with nice size, though. Hopefully we can get him on the field, keep him on the field, and get that defensive secondary shored up, because I know that's a big concern for all Browns fans. Jimmy, thank you so much. We'll see you again at 6 o'clock.
Well, if you watched any of the draft last night, you saw the crowds of people, a sight that we haven't seen in some time due to the pandemic, at least here in Cleveland. I'm sure many of you asked yourselves, is this safe? Could this be a super spreader event? Well, our Brandon Simmons joins us live from the venue. And Brandon, you talked to a doctor we actually heard from yesterday, but she was planning on going down to the draft last night. She made it down there. Now we get to hear how it actually was from her perspective. What did she have to say?
Well, it actually was a positive review for the most part. She said a lot of that has to do with the work that the NFL put in the months ahead of this event, in the planning phase. And of course, one of the examples of that is right here behind us. This is one of the entries to what's known as the vaccinated zone. And obviously there's a separate section for fans who have not been vaccinated yet. And overall, throughout the draft experience, there's plenty of signage in place to make sure people are well aware that we're still living in a pandemic and we have to follow the rules. Those signs remind people to keep their distance and make sure that they keep their masks on as it's required throughout the entire draft experience. And in case you forget the rules, there are also people walking around with similar signs, and they'll actually let you know when you are breaking those rules. Now, Dr. Claudia Hoyen, who we spoke to, heads up infection control at Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital, and she says the system isn't perfect, but it was really nice to see people getting together again.
A few kinks to work out, but I think that these types of events might be things that we can think about. I've been saying since last July, we need to learn to live with COVID. And now that we have the vaccine, that's really attainable.
Now, going back to last night, she says that she was in the vaccinated zone, and for the most part, people tried to follow the rules and they were wearing their masks, although, of course, at times it was difficult for each group to maintain social distance from each other. Still, she felt the NFL did the best that they could to control the crowd. Now, remember that although this is an outdoor event, the CDC still recommends that everybody continue to wear their masks when they're in large crowds, and of course, that's why the NFL kept that rule in place, Betsy. But of course, a lot of people here showing us how to do this successfully, meaning we could get a lot more big events as we head into summer.
Well, every morning I've been giving weather updates to the NFL leadership here in town and the event leadership. And I got to tell you, this morning, all they talked about was people, 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 and the energy of the crowd and Sweet Caroline. All of them said that was the best moment, is when everybody sang along to Sweet Caroline, thanks to the Sunrise Joneses. So just a great event all in all. Brandon, thank you so much.
Well, turning now to the excitement of it all, Marissa Saenz joins us live from the NFL Draft Experience. Marissa, I mentioned earlier, today's weather was better than yesterday in that we were drier, but man, that wind off the lake was tough at times earlier today. How would you compare the energy overall of the crowd today compared to yesterday at this time?
Well, if I have to put it simply, the energy is just more for a couple of reasons. Because one, we're not wearing ponchos. There's an example for you right there. We've been hearing that since we've been here for the last few hours, but nobody has umbrellas, nobody has ponchos, everybody's dry. And let me show you, you can see this crowd here behind me. They've got activities here. This is the 40-yard dash. People are really having fun with this. Just behind that is the vertical jump. But also on the other side of the sidewalk here, look at this line. This line is easily, if not double the size, even more than that than it was yesterday. And this line leads you over to the front of the stadium entrance. You can see the Lombardi Trophy there. On the other side, they have the Super Bowl rings. But I've been talking with people, and they've been saying, man, it just feels like football season. Even though this is just the draft, they're excited to be here. And that's all we've heard. We've been talking to people who are really screaming, excited, and a lot of what has to do with that is the weather, because it really just feels so good out here. There you go.
Well, hopefully the Lombardi Trophy gets comfortable here in Cleveland. Perhaps maybe it might make another visit, say, early February of 2022. That would be nice to see.
I don't know.
Marissa, thanks.
I agree, guys.
Well, you see Will Ewick there. He's also live downtown with a leader from Destination Cleveland and how the event is going so far. Will, what kind of marks are we getting?
Yeah, Betsy, really, when the draft was announced to be here in Cleveland, everyone was expecting giant crowds, but of course COVID interrupted all that. So Emily Lauer with Destination Cleveland joining me. Emily, how do you kind of gauge the success of an event like this? Obviously, you had numbers you were shooting for in the gate, and now with COVID and restrictions and capacity limits, what type of numbers are we seeing, and how do you gauge success like that?
You know, Will, I would say that it's hard to say what a success metric will be in terms of visitation and visitors down here. We're just happy to have a percent of something versus a percent of nothing, which is what we had for the last 14 months.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen tens of thousands of people in the last 2 days. Downtown feels alive. You know, we think that it's the slingshot that our economy needs as we go into summer and hopefully COVID ramps down.
And you're also hoping to get that message of Cleveland out to the world through press, through people here. How are you doing that? We saw the VIP bag that Adam Schefter of ESPN tweeted out.
Yeah, you know, all the on-air talent got the swag box. You know, had some great products: Market Garden beer, Great Lakes beer, Cleveland Chocolate Company chocolate bar, even a Cleveland Candle Company candle, right? Because a few nights in a hotel, you might just want the Forest City scent instead of hotel scent. So.
And real quick, we only have a few seconds. You also have those things inside for other press to take home that you guys purchased from local companies. How creative did you have to get to do that? Because you didn't do that something like for the RNC.
We didn't. You know, stories coming out of here are all about the business side of it. So we went with surprise and delight. And who doesn't love food? Cleveland entrepreneurs. We have Pierre's Ice Cream. We've got granola from City Hippie. We have Cleveland Cold Brew and Guardian Cold Brew. We kind of like covered the gamut of snacks. People can enjoy some Christie's Kernels and Luna cookies. So it's been popular so far.
Well, there you go. Betsy, Jay, there will be a lot of definitely satisfied and unhungry media members headed back home when they leave here after the draft, thanks to Destination Cleveland.
We do like our snacks here in the CLE. Will Ewick reporting live for us. Thank you so much, Jay.
Coming up next on What's News, so what do thousands of out-of-towners have to say about how Cleveland is doing as the host of this year's NFL Draft? I set out to find out.
And in other news, the original Queen Bee is coming back for her crown. Details on Lil' Kim's new memoir being released.
And Matt Standridge is in today. It is Friday. So, Matt, that wind off the lake had a real bite to it today. Is it going to get better tomorrow?
Jay, it's going to. In fact, it's actually going to turn around and come out of the south. If only we could have that happen tonight. But I have two pieces of good news for you guys. The wind is already starting to die down a little bit. It's still out there, but we're not having gusts near 30 anymore. And the sun is breaking across the land. We're going to talk more about your forecast coming up. Talking also about dining outside, at least compared to yesterday. You know, maybe it's an option time, especially if you have one of those heat lamps. Temperatures will be dipping eventually into the 40s this evening, but the rain is headed out. We're going to have a complete forecast coming up.
If you watched any of the draft coverage last night on the NFL Network or ESPN, I'm sure that you noticed all of the beautiful shots of our grand city. Man, did Cleveland look spectacular in the big spotlight. But how are we doing as the host city of the NFL's second biggest road show? I decided to go out today and find out. Where are you from?
Denver.
Reed came all the way?
Came all the way.
Bro! We got to talk, bro. We got to talk. Big Steelers fan, huh?
Sure am.
You came all the way from Texas? Wow. We're asking folks that have come from out of town, how are we doing with the draft?
Well, I'm glad it stopped raining.
Yeah.
That's been wonderful. And everybody has been incredibly friendly.
Cleveland and Pittsburgh have, their rival.
Look at Steelers fan. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, I actually had someone that works inside of the stadium come up to me and say, "Oh, a Steelers fan? Oh, I forgot it's the draft. You're okay today." Everybody has been friendly.
Has Cleveland, in your view, been an extra point, a safety, a field goal, or a touchdown?
We'll go safety.
What? Safety?
Dude, I would almost rather have a safety than a touchdown. Safeties are so much more fun to watch.
Yeah, but safety's 2, touchdown 7. Give us the 2-point conversion 8.
I think a touchdown.
There you go.
I really do.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Everything is clean and wonderful, so it beat everything. You just don't know when you go to another city, and everybody's been so friendly. There's a ton of course, Cleveland Browns fans around.
You can't control the weather, but that's why you get a safety, you know?
Okay, well, look, I'm not gonna argue with you. It's your judgment. If you're gonna give us a safety, that's fine. But if the draft is ever in Denver, I'm coming and I'm giving it a safety.
All right, give us a safety. Well, no, you say that now until you experience it.
I've been there. Wait, how am I going to be? Did you get that?
Did we get a touchdown?
Yes.
Can we go for 2?
Yes.
Wait, we get 8 points. Wait, that's the highest score so far.
He came all the way from Kansas City, and it was funny. He was with his son, who's a high school senior. They were sitting around just Tuesday night, Bets, and they were talking about, yeah, the draft is coming up. We've never done that. They booked a flight. They came in. They've been here for over 24 hours, and they said so far they are absolutely impressed with Cleveland and everything it has to offer.
I think that's so great. You know, there's a lot of people who hopefully will go, wow, there's a lot to offer. And I can't help but think that, you know, Cedar Point is sitting over there in Sandusky going,
right.
Because all these people now experience Cleveland. And of course, Cedar Point becomes a major attraction for summer folks. So you get not only everything going on in downtown and the cultural district on the east side, the Football Hall of Fame down in Canton, but you also get Cedar Point too. So hopefully we'll get those folks coming back.
Lot to do.
Bring your money with you. We'll take your money.
And how good, Bets, did those shots look last night on national TV?
It was stunning. I told him on the call this morning, I'm like, it sparkled. Like, it looked so good. The tower looked amazing, certainly.
Yeah,
And, you know, it was a little damp. We get it. That was true. But today, it was a wind issue, really, for the most part. Maybe a passing sprinkle. As Matt Standers joins us now with the latest on what's going on with this forecast. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be getting away from the wind too much. But, you know, things are definitely looking on the up and up, especially for the latter part of the weekend.
Yeah, things are just improving. So as folks stay longer maybe in Cleveland, maybe we can entice them to stay an extra day or so. They're really going to enjoy some very nice weather. Betsy, one of my groomsmen texted me last night from Florida, and he was watching the draft, and he said, I know it looks rainy and drizzly, but Cleveland looks amazing. And that was one of the biggest compliments I think you can get. But hey, let's talk about the forecast this evening. Temperatures are cool. Yeah, we have been battling 50s all day long, along with that northwest wind, and along the lakeshore, yeah, it's been chilly. But overall, the winds are slowly starting to back off along the lakeshore. We're still sitting in the 50s. It's going to be cool, though, this evening, headed out towards downtown. The winds, though, are still pretty strong away from downtown. Look at Canton, Akron. We're still in the mid-30s for those gusts near 30 in Mansfield. So it's chilly still out there. One other piece of good news, though, is that the sun is breaking out. The clouds are slowly leaving. You see those showers, they're exiting. And so this evening should be mostly dry, and we should get a pretty nice sunset over Lake Erie tonight. Also, more good news for us as we head into the weekend. We're watching our next system. The center of low pressure is in southern Canada, but there's a long warm front with it. 60s and 70s are headed this weekend. So just day by day, we continue to get better. Overnight tonight, we'll dip into the 30s. We do have a frost advisory along the lakeshore and then a freeze warning further inland just because temperatures will be into those 30s. Some of us will maybe try to get to low 30s away from the lakeshore. So just keep that in mind. The growing season has officially started, so they're releasing those freeze warnings. But headed to this weekend, good news. The south wind is returning, 60s and 70s on the way. You're looking at the National Design hour-by-hour forecast. Tonight will be chilly. We'll still have that northwest wind, but eventually it switches around. So by tomorrow afternoon, it becomes out of the southwest, and it's really going to crank up. And we've got good news for the rest of the weekend. 60s for Saturday. Wait one more day, headed into the 70s. Next week, we're going to get hit again with more showers, but this weekend, got to enjoy it. 60s and 70s on that Union Home Mortgage 7-day outlet, guys.
Yep, good to go.
have new details on the shooting that injured Lady Gaga's dog walker and the theft of her dogs. The Los Angeles Police Department arrested 5 people. At least 3 of the suspects are gang members. 3 were charged with attempted murder. 2 others, including the woman who claimed she found the dogs and returned them, are charged with being accessories after the fact. Her dog walker is still recovering. Now here's Kira Cotton with the rest of today's Pop Break.
After 8 years, actor Jason Segel and longtime girlfriend Alexis Mixner have called it quits. Mixner announced their split on Instagram with a lengthy post alongside a picture of the two saying, "It is odd to write about the end of a relationship, especially when the friendship that still exists is so full of life." The two very rarely spoke publicly about their relationship, so the breakup announcement was a shock to many, which Mixner also addressed in her post saying, "Some won't understand why it's necessary, and that's okay." Segel has not yet addressed the breakup. The original Queen Bee is coming back for her crown. Hip-hop artist Lil' Kim, born Kimberly Jones, is set to tell her story with a new book later this year. From her days as the only female rapper in Junior Mafia, her relationship with the notorious B.I.G., to double platinum albums and Grammys, Lil' Kim has certainly racked up quite a few stories over the years. Promoting the book on Instagram, the New York native wrote, "It's finally here. You thought you knew, but you have no idea." The Queen Bee memoir is set to be released on November 2nd.
I've been accidentally straight up ignoring all these people for like 2 years.
And T-Pain has learned just how complicated social media can be. The Grammy-winning artist recently posted a video to TikTok that showed his requested direct messages on Instagram, a feature that must be sought out to be seen in the app. During the video, Pain scrolls through dozens of messages from big names, including Viola Davis, Nate Robinson, Fergie, and so many others. The 34-year-old went on to apologize, and in a later video says he responded to those he felt needed an immediate response. Now, I wouldn't know anything about it, but I assume when you have more than 2 million followers, things become a bit difficult to sift through. So we'll just have to cut him some slack on this one. Betsy?
Oh my gosh, Kira, I gotta tell you, I have done that before. Like, you figure out, oh, okay, there's the messages, and then there's this whole like portal to another dimension that takes you into more messages, and there's just so many, and I don't, you can't sort through them all. How many messages do you typically DM back and forth on a daily basis?
Personal message, I would say maybe 5. Okay. My following is a lot less than 2 million, so I don't have that problem.
So is mine, girlfriend. We're in that together. I'll DM you. Does it sound cool when we say that? So that's what we'll DM each other. Just make sure you allow it so I don't feel like such a loser. All right, Kira, thanks so much. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. All right, coming up on What's New, back in business. Almost. With the draft and sports games returning to downtown, restaurants are seeing the green again. Now they just need to convince workers to come back. The initiative on hiring in downtown Cleveland.
Bets, I think the kids call it sliding into your DMs.
Oh.
That's what the kids say.
I hope I don't hurt myself.
All right, my conversation from Kirk Herbstreit yesterday. Coming up, he's going to tell us his thoughts on the state of our Cleveland Browns. That's next.
And are the chances that legalized gambling on sports will soon be allowed in Ohio? We'll break it all down for you coming up when we come back.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Welcome into the second half hour of What's New on this, the last day of April. Wow. Where did that go? With Betsy Kling, I'm Jay Crawford. So round one of the NFL draft is in the books, Bets, but NFL GMs will tell you it's really what you do in rounds 2 through 4 that determine your fate. Tonight, the Browns have 3 picks for those rounds 2 and 3. That's really nice draft currency.
It definitely is. I mean, we've got a lot of activity, and they can use those, right? They can trade them for later stuff. And Andrew Berry, brand new father now of 3, had his 3rd baby, yesterday morning?
Yeah,
had day 1 of the draft. Big day for him. So he's obviously doing a whole lot of research and planning, but I can't wait to see what we come up with through the night tonight. Let's begin with 3 things to know here at the bottom of the hour. Today, 16-year-old Ma'Khia Bryant was laid to rest in Columbus. She's the girl shot by a Columbus police officer on April 20th. You may remember the police body camera video that showed Bryant lunging at another woman with a knife before she was killed. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is investigating the shooting.
Our coronavirus numbers continue their downward trend. Our daily cases today down to 1,541. That is below our 14-day average, which is now, believe this, under 1,600 for the first time in a very long time. In fact, that 14-day average was over 2,000 just last week. Now it stands at 1,599. Our cases per 100,000, 155. That's down 45 in just a matter of a couple of weeks. And we are now over 40% vaccinated here in the state of Ohio. More than 4.6 million of us have had that first shot.
And, of course, we have to talk about the draft. Marissa Saenz joins us live from down at the venue. And, Marissa, I imagine with the weather improving, the crowd numbers will be improving as well. As a matter of fact, tomorrow's probably going to be straight up banana in downtown Cleveland. How are things feeling out there on day 2 so far?
Well, it's already crazy today. Whenever we got out here, which was around 2:30, the number of people was already double what we had seen towards the end of the night last night. So people are already getting out here, early. And right now we're under kind of a tent, which we're right next to the Lombardi Trophy, which is just shining right now. And it's a little bit chilly, but it's not unbearable. You can see there behind, the sun is shining. That's really putting a smile on people's faces. It's bringing the energy out. So you're right. It's going to be crazy tomorrow, but it's already crazy today. The energy is here. People are excited to be here, and having good weather has a lot to do with that. Betsy.
All right. Thank you so much, Marissa.
Not going to lie, kind of get goosebumps seeing that Lombardi Trophy here in Cleveland. Just saying.
Get comfy, baby.
Oh, boy, that would look good here permanently. All right, between the Republican National Convention, the MLB All-Star Game, and the presidential debate, Cleveland has proven we've got what it takes to handle huge events when the world is watching. Then, of course, COVID hit.
Like many other cities, our downtown was nearly decimated, with business of all types shutting down or struggling to stay alive. But the draft has brought us back into the spotlight, and with it, another chance to rebound. Here's consumer investigator Danielle Serino.
We're essentially hemorrhaging money. We still had to pay rent, we have insurance, we have utilities.
In fact, Flannery says it lost less money staying closed than open, but not during the draft.
We love it that it's a sports event because we're huge sports junkies. And we love it that we get to showcase our city in this way. It's moving in the right direction. You can feel the momentum.
For it to fully bounce back, though, he says it's becoming less about customers, more about convincing workers there's money to be made.
I mean, it's been busy, so it's been great. Fine. It's great. It's been good. Yeah. I have no issues.
It's why the Greater Cleveland Partnership and Downtown Cleveland Alliance created a one-stop source to connect job seekers with openings in the hospitality industry, as well as other businesses.
We want to make sure that we are showcasing our businesses that are hiring, our businesses in need to get our downtown district reinvigorated and refreshed anew.
Which has already started. The Cavs and Indians are now playing. The Huntington Convention Center has started holding events, and Playhouse Square and other theaters have planned their reopenings.
So far it's been great. We've been having
real nice, real nice.
It's a beautiful city. Cleveland is a beautiful city.
For the Cleveland Browns.
And with the city again in the national spotlight, Cleveland-centric groups say we're headed for a touchdown.
But this is the first weekend of kickoff for what I hope will be a summer that accelerates recovery, gets our businesses back up and operating, and we start to see that hustle and bustle in our downtown district that we've come to really appreciate over the course of the last several years. So,
Given that most hotels are at least 80% filled and tens of thousands of people are expected to come downtown for the events, we're not just drafting players, but new life for the city. I'm Danielle Serino, 3 News.
All right.
Well played.
Nice Northwestern t-shirt there. That, of course, is the school of our #1 draft pick, Greg Newsome. Betts, I talked to a couple from Tampa today. They've traveled to several of the NFL drafts on the road. They went to Nashville 2 years ago. They said they just feel horrible for Cleveland that the pandemic kept the crowds from being what they could have been.
Right. I got to tell you, driving into work today, there's traffic, and I'm like, what are all these people doing?
Right?
I haven't had to deal with traffic for a year. So it's like all of a sudden, like, wait a minute. And then you have to like, oh, this is such a good thing. Actually, they're all here.
Yeah,
for
we
the draft.
welcome it. Bring it.
Bring it. Absolutely. You can have my parking space. All right, what is ahead for us here on What's New? Well, Cleveland isn't the butt of everyone's jokes this time. We have all the praise the city is getting online.
And there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Then more from my interview with Kirk Herbstreit. So, Kirk, what do you think about the Browns heading into the 2021 season? That answer is coming up.
Also, the latest on the forecast, it is looking good. I mean, man, we're going to shine again tonight. And Matt Standridge, sometimes the winds of change are definitely a good thing.
Yeah, we'll take maybe a southwest wind instead of a northwest wind I have right now. Did you just notice in that CSU cam, every time we pull it up, there are fewer and fewer clouds. We're going to have a nice evening. Still cool across the land right now. We'll talk about your weekend forecast coming up.
.5:40 p.m. right now, and 4 words for you, Matt Standridge. It keeps getting better.
I like it.
We really like that with the forecast.
We just need to keep repeating that and get louder, and that's the chant that should be going on downtown. Downtown looks so nice right now. Betsy, we've been looking outside. We have the cameras out here. We've got our deck back behind me, and it's just so beautiful. The clouds are breaking. The sun is coming out. The only real two hurdles that we're kind of facing right now, one is the temperature. Temperatures are sitting in the 50s. It is a little bit cool. And then on top of that, the second thing is that wind. That wind has slowed down a little bit in downtown. We still have it coming in pretty strong, though, towards Akron and Canton, Worcester, Medina, Mansfield. We're still getting gusts near 30 or plus miles per hour, so it's still pretty chilly, especially inland areas. But for the NFL draft, that's just going to be starting in under an hour and a half. Temperatures will be right around 50 degrees, and then throughout the rest of the evening, we'll be in those 40s. Tonight, we're going to get pretty chilly. Eventually, those winds will slowly die down. They'll still be slightly out of the northwest, but temperatures, especially away from the lakeshore, will probably be in those low to mid 30s, and that's why the National Weather Service has went ahead and released freeze warnings for much of our inland counties, and then stretching into northwestern Pennsylvania, and then frost advisories pretty much everywhere else, especially close to the lakeshore. It's once you get a little bit away from the lakeshore, it's going to be a little bit cooler tonight, but then we get much, much warmer for the rest of the weekend. You're looking at a loop of satellite and radar. You can see the rain pushing out of here. We had a little bit of that earlier today. The clouds are also breaking apart, so we just get clearer and clearer tonight. When you look westbound, we got clear skies over Michigan and Wisconsin. We'll have some of those tomorrow. We do have a quick system, though, coming in for this weekend. With it, there's a warm front, and behind it, we'll be able to jump into those 60s and 70s. We could have a few high-passing clouds every once in a while. I'll be watching those throughout the weekend, but warmer air is on the way. Here's your National Design hour-by-hour forecast. Tonight, once again, it's going to be chilly, and we still have that northwest wind over time. It'll be dying down. Tomorrow, the good news, you see that wind, it switches direction, especially by the late morning, early afternoon hours, really helping us to warm up into those 50s and 60s. Speaking of the month, we're at the end of the month, right? Tomorrow's May 1st. For May, we gain 56 minutes of daylight in Northeast Ohio. That's something to look forward to. Here's your Union Home Mortgage 7-day outlook. Guys, this weekend looks fantastic. 60s for Saturday. It's going to be great, especially downtown for the draft. 70s on Sunday. And then, Jay, we do have to talk about some rain headed in for next week as temperatures cool down. But this weekend looks great.
Yeah, we'll focus on this weekend and then what we can do
For next, Jay.
I saw those 40s.
You look different today.
I should just start moving my lips when you're talking, Jay. Watermelon, 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 right? That's what you're supposed to do? All right, Matt Standards, thank you so much. You're up at 7 o'clock tonight. Jay.
Well, once upon a time, ESPN's Kirk Herbstreit was a huge Bengals fan, and I, of course, lifelong Browns fan, so the two of us used to talk major smack to each other. That's when the rivalry was great. So it took everything Kirk Herbstreit had yesterday to give me his honest thoughts about where the Browns are sitting ahead of the 2021 season.
This is the best position they've been in an offseason than I can remember.
And I think Andrew nailed the free agent season too. He went out and got another piece on the defensive front to help there.
And you have one of the best running backs that the masses in the NFL don't know plays in Cleveland. And he's a unheralded, super humble, super quiet, from probably interviewing him. I knew him really well in college. Like, if you're ever going to root for a guy, you're going to root for Nick Chubb. And you put he and Kareem Hunt in the backfield together. I mean, that's as good as, to me, there is in the league. With Baker, with the weapons on the outside, now you just got to stay healthy.
Yeah, that's the key, Bets. All we've got to do is stay healthy, particularly in that defensive backfield where Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams have just been dinged so much. If this defense can improve as much as the offense has improved over the last couple of years, you're looking at a team, and I read a couple of different columns today where they think the Browns are the team that is best positioned to challenge Kansas City for their throne in the AFC.
I have goosebumps.
I know. It's unbelievable.
Are you sure this is the Browns? I mean, it's so exciting. And just like, it's such a point of pride. And I think the cool thing is, there are so many fans that have just been with the team for such a long time. The perennial optimist, right? That's what Cleveland is.
Maybe next year.
And now it's like, here we are. Maybe next year is like, yeah, really, maybe next year. And it's, we're getting some respect, and it's about darn time instead of being the butt of people's jokes.
Maybe next year has finally arrived.
Well,
maybe.
Let's get that going on. Keep that. It is next year. Let's put it out there. That'll be the new slogan. All right, I bet you can all guess what is in Clicking in Cleveland on this Friday, the NFL Draft. Our digital anchor Stephanie Haney joins us. Stephanie, I saw your Instagram post. I know you were down there last night. Hope you had a great time.
Oh, yeah. It was a great time, Betsy, and the weather didn't bother me at all. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit because our city was showing out last night, and you've got to take a look at the reaction. Caitlin and Sana shared these stunning photos of the stage all lit up and from the inside looking out, and also a gorgeous sunset from Edgewater Beach Park overlooking the city. Now, people online could not praise Cleveland enough, with a few saying we should just always have the draft here. Yeah. We definitely should. Now, some said it was gorgeous despite the rain, and others thought the rain and mist were no issue at all, totally unbothered. All right, WKYC.com continues to be your spot for rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL Draft tonight. Right now, let's take a look at reaction from the Browns picking Greg Newsome during round 1. Fellow cornerbacks Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams welcomed Newsome to the team, as did linebacker Mack Wilson. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport called Newsome the best available player at the time, and ESPN's Danny Cunningham says the pick makes him feel like they're not just in this to beat the Baltimore Ravens, but they are going after Super Bowl contenders Kansas City. Now, you can chalk that up to just another reaction we are not used to in this NFL Draft, Jay and Betsy. You gotta love to hear that, and that's right in line with the players saying they want more after last year. I'm with you guys. This is next season. We're there.
I love that. We're not just in this to beat the Ravens. That's such a way we've been looking at things for such a long time.
Yeah, let's go for the whole thing. Why not?
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you down there around the draft later this evening, hopefully. Next, could sports betting become legal in Ohio soon? Well, we're going to break down the odds for you.
And we've got a great story. Art comes to life for some local students. We're going to tell you who visited the kid artists of this mural. That's ahead in Show Us Something Good.
Well, the NFL draft isn't the only big sports story in town right now. With sports betting already legal in half the U.S., lawmakers are working on a bill to allow Ohioans to place bets on Browns, Cavs, and Tribe games, as well as other events.
Yeah, can you imagine? But as Mark Namick explains in a 3 News special report, the political battle over this has some businesses very worried.
Ohio is at the cusp of catching up with its neighbors by legalizing sports wagering and providing Ohioans with a safe and regulated alternative that will move them away from the black market.
Legal sports betting in the U.S. is a $13 billion business alive in neighboring Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Indiana, and Michigan. Ohio lawmakers want to keep sports bets and related tax revenue in-state, holding hearings for months on how to do it. Professional sports teams endorsing regulated betting.
And we are the very entities that are creating the legalized sports betting market.
But like sports itself, crafting legislation is a game between perennial powerhouses and underdogs, the winner getting control of millions of dollars.
It's critical that the operation of retail and mobile sports betting be limited to existing licensed gaming operators like ourselves, who've invested billions of dollars in economic development in Ohio.
Casino operators, which have a monopoly in Ohio on table games and slot machines, want to control it all. Some of them and other big gaming companies also own the state's 7 horse racing tracks that feature slot machines operated by the Ohio Lottery Commission. But taverns, bars, and bowling alleys want a piece of the action, perhaps through bar kiosks similar to the lottery's Keno machines they already offer.
We can't let local homegrown businesses be shut out once again by the greedy casino and racino owners.
David Corey, head of the trade group that looks out for bowling centers, complained during a recent news conference that casino owners haven't lived up to the economic promises, pointing to the never-built Phase 2 of the Cleveland Casino, and noting casinos and the lottery have fared better during the pandemic than bars and taverns.
These guys just can't stop lying about anything. They just can't. They need a boost. Bowling centers, local hospitality establishments, they're the ones that need the boost.
Big gaming companies argue they should control betting because they are already heavily regulated and have partnerships with online betting services. They predict 90 to 95% of all wagers will be placed online, but they still oppose bars and taverns getting in on the action.
The free market can absolutely have a role in this, and that there is a role for other businesses to play, but not by deputizing them into the casino business or into the gaming business or sports betting business.
John Lane, co-owner of the chain of Winking Lizard sports bars, is hoping for a compromise and to partner with casinos with established ties to online betting services.
I think the law's got to allow us to get a piece somehow. We all know, though, this mini computer is where people like to bet, and so that we partner with a casino or racino and get a tiny piece.
Lobbyists are also battling over who should regulate betting. Big gaming interests want the Casino Control Commission in charge. Small businesses want wagering in the hands of the Lottery Commission, which already works with them. Yorktown Lanes, a family-run bowling center, says its 60 years in business demonstrates it can manage sports betting.
The fact that we can successfully and responsibly run Keno, that having something like sports betting here, it's proven that we can do that as well.
Complicating the whole issue and worrying bars, bowling alleys, and convenience stores is the Ohio Lottery's interest in bringing games and tickets to the phone, something they worry will keep people out of their stores. Mobile lottery is also opening the door to sports gaming done by the commission. Exactly what will be in the final bill is unclear, but odds are good. The bill's coming this summer, and it's going to pass. Mark Namick, 3 News.
Next up on What's New, this Brown mural made by 4th graders caught the eye of a very popular Browns player. What the star did next is coming up in our Show Us Something Good.
Then on What Matters Most at 6, a new oak tree planted in Cleveland today, not just for Arbor Day, but in honor of Jesse Owens. Details ahead at 6. And our pop quiz today takes us back to the NFL draft. I love this question
You are so excited about this question.
This is such a great question. It shows how far the league has come. What career did Jay Berwanger choose over football? He was the first Heisman Trophy winner, Betsy, and the first overall #1 pick in an NFL draft. How about that?
And none of those have anything to do with football.
Nope. Which one of those careers did he choose over football? The answer when we come back.
Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Laura Casio's mic. Thanks for joining us. Hey, David, how are you? Happy Friday.
I thought that was his girlfriend.
Yes.
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. I went, wow.
Yeah, she was trending for a while.
Oh my God, we should have totally talked about that today.
I had friends texting me, they're like, that dude dates older women.
I do, David. How are you? Testing 1, 2, good. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, but I didn't want to go there.
I just love seeing the families too, because like some of
Yeah.
them dressed to the
No.
Oh, yeah.
So before the break, we asked you which career Jay Berwanger chose instead of football. Bets, he decided that he was going to go sell rubber because he said that playing football just didn't pay as well. Wow. And back then, he was right.
How far they've come.
You aren't kidding.
Boy, oh boy. Well, we have a great follow-up to show us something good. We first told you about this earlier this week. The fourth graders at the primary school in Independence teamed up to make this awesome Cleveland Browns mural.
It looks pretty cool. They really wanted the Browns to see it. And guess who showed up yesterday to check it out? There he is. Miles Garrett liked it so much, had to see it in person. According to one of the teachers, he signed it too. And I think the value of that mural went through the roof.
I can't even imagine the excitement of those kids. They probably were about to self-combust. They must have been so excited.
You know what? I think it says a lot about Miles Garrett.
It does.
That he took time out of his life to go make theirs. That's it. We're out of time. Thanks so much for watching us on What's New. We're back Monday at 5, and we hope to see you then.
What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now.
2 picks on day 2. A look at what moves the Browns could make on the second night of the NFL Draft. COVID precautions.
I thought they did as good a job as they could have.
A local doctor weighs in on the COVID safety protocols downtown. Browns' first pick.
Cleveland.
Greg Newsome shares his thoughts on becoming a cornerback for Cleveland and honoring a legacy.
I think he